Hey everyone, welcome to Posing with Brian. Today we're going to go over one of the most requested poses, which is the most muscular. Now this is the one that you think of when you think of bodybuilders, right? You think of bodybuilders doing this, and then you also think of front double bi. Those are the two most common. Now there are so many different variations of the most muscular, you really have to decide which one looks best with your type of body before you actually commit to one. For me, I'll show you which one I like the most, because that's what this is about. This is about me showing you how I pose. This isn't necessarily what's going to make you win on bodybuilding competition stages and stuff, but luckily we're not being judged like that on a stage. This is just for, you know, showing off your progression or maybe taking selfies or whatever. This is just so you know how to show off your progress correctly. Now, like I said, there's a lot of different variations of this pose. There's the crab, which is something like this. Your hands are on your hips. I like that one. You'll see me do that from time to time. I don't really like doing it all that often. There's the right in front of your hips clasped hands, which is like this. I also don't really like this one. For you to look really good in this one, you gotta be like an IFBB pro. Your arms have to be huge. I don't really like that one very much. And the one I really like is where you kind of lean forward and your hands are in front of your hips and you're flexing like that. Okay, so let's learn the pose from the feet up. Now I can't show you my legs because my camera won't go far enough backwards to get my whole body in perspective, but stand straight up and then bring one of your feet forward to the front of your toes of the other foot. So my left foot is in front of my right foot. Keep your heels close. If there was a line that went between your midline of your body all the way down, you want your heels on both sides to be standing on that line. Now come up here, you're gonna keep your abs flexed when you actually hit this pose. Make sure that you breathe out as you're flexing so that your abs are nice and tight. Now here's where the pose gets a little bit hard. There's a lot of subtle nuances that change your body from looking super flat when you hit this pose to really full and impressive. The first thing I'm going to show you is something I caught from one of my friends, Michael Fabo, I think his last name is. You're going to lean your head back as far as you can, right? And pull your elbows back. This is going to force your traps to contract, right? So you're going to go just like that. And then just lean forward. Feel how your traps feel when you do that. I know it looks kind of dumb, but now lean forward and bring your hands in front of you. Don't even flex or anything. You can feel that my traps are pulled out. This is where you want your traps to be when you're doing a most muscular, right? You want them to be nice and projected up. Whereas if you just lean forward, it might be a little hard to get your traps to come out because you don't really know how to contract them. But if you lean your head back, then your traps are already in the correct spot. Now the next thing that you need to do, obviously, is bring your hands down for the actual pose. Now what I do is I imagine that I'm doing either a fly with dumbbells or I'm doing a cable crossover fly. You have to be able to remember what that feeling is when you're pulling those weights down and you're getting a good contraction, because that's exactly what you want to imitate. You want to do a little bit of pushing together with your hands together, but you also want to do a little bit of pushing forward to contract the top of your chest, so it's a nice full contraction. Then you want to stop at the top and have those pecs flexed. Now there's two different things you can do here. Some people like to keep their hands close to their hips when they flex so that they're like this. But I like to, and I don't know why, I don't know if this is because it makes me look bigger or if it's because I often take pictures for cameras, so I like to have my hands in front of me, maybe about 6 inches from my hips. Now this causes, for me, it causes my shoulders and my delts and my chest to pop, but it also causes, if there's a camera closer to me, it creates a cool dimension because the camera is close to my hand and it follows all the way up my body and it gives me a really full perspective. Now I'll demonstrate these two. So here's hands close to the hips. Head back, elbows back, lean forward, and then flex it out. And that's what it would look like with my hands close to my hips. Also, I forgot to say this. Remember, you're going to lean forward when you do this. You don't want to be back here and hitting your chest. This is something you do when you're trying to show off your lats. You're trying to hide all the small parts of your body when you're doing this pose and present and highlight the big parts. So when you're leaning forward, your arm is covering all the side parts of your body, your lats and whatnot, but it's making your chest, your delts, your bis, all those things pop. Okay, so now here's the pose that I like to do, hands a little out from the hips. So from the very bottom up, feet a little bit apart, keeping my legs flexed. Now I flex my abs, bring my head back, bring my elbows back, remembering to contract my traps, leaning forward now, bringing my hands out here like I'm doing a crossover where I feel comfortable with it, squeezing down, feeling my pecs, squeeze and contract, keeping my abs flexed, figuring out how far I want to lean, looking at the camera or whatever, the mirror, whatever I'm practicing in, and flexing everything as hard as I can. Trying to keep all this vascular, trying to keep this flexed, and keeping my abs flexed. And then of course, you can give it a smile. So there it is. That's how you do a most muscular pose. Now this pose is a very daunting pose for beginners, just like a lat spread, because like I always tell people, before you actually have the muscle, it's very hard to do these big poses, the most muscular and the lat spread, because you have to have the muscle and you have to have the control of that muscle to actually make them pop. So when you're doing this most muscular pose as a beginner, I mean, you should still do it. You should still practice it so you understand the mechanics, and it actually helps you get better mind-muscle control and connection with your muscles, because you're constantly being able to squeeze them and do it correctly. But it will be very difficult in the very beginning doing this one, just because you need to build the muscle there. And if you have muscle and you don't know how to do this, it's still going to be relatively hard until you've practiced it a bunch. So make sure that you're practicing as much as possible. Like I always say, give yourself 10-15 minutes after whatever muscle group you just hit to try and flex that muscle group and gain better control, because I mean, even if you're not someone who's going to pose, even if you think that posing in front of people is kind of douchey or whatever, posing in front of yourself, in front of a mirror, it's going to help you figure out how to contract those muscles. So next time you're doing a fly, you're like, oh right, when I pose this certain way, I can get a better contraction. So I'm going to try that on the lift, and then you find out that's how you develop your chest more correctly. Alright, there's a little bit of a spiel there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have learned a little bit of something, and if you have, I'd love to see you guys try the most muscular pose after your next chest day. Hashtag TeamBTW. I always go through that on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook just to see what people are posting. So post that. I'm sure I'll see you guys in there. I'll leave a comment, I'll like, who knows what I'll do. Maybe I'll follow. Maybe I'll give you a discount code. Who knows? Alright, you sexy people. Have a happy Wednesday. Team Beyond the Week. Lift heavy or die, MIRIN!